1 second, guys.
So, oh, was the awesome scammer? Hi, Cheryl.
Hi,
How are you?
good. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'll turn on my camera in about 60 seconds.
Okay.
Christine was here, but is she gone?
No, she's on the phone. Looks
Oh,
like something might be wrong, or it's work bugging her, one or the other.
okay.
Let's see. Rita, I had a question for you. Did they explain everything for your PCC yet? Like, when's it going to be dated, and are you going to have to go right in and renew?
No, say that again.
So the school with your PCC,
Yes.
right? They said they were going to issue you a PCC. Have they done that
Yes.
yet?
So I must just do that written exam. But I wanted to first do our course and, get all the competencies and ethics in the course. And so I'll have to connect to the website and then see how that works. I wanted to ask you as well, do you think, I should write it in November or a little bit later? Yeah.
Okay, so you still have to go in and apply from the ICF website. You have to tell them that you have 500 coaching hours. You have to upload your certificates, and then they'll schedule the final exam.
Okay. Yes, I do have to do all that stuff.
Oh, okay. And did they send you that's the certificate that shows the level 2 completion?
Yes. Yes.
All right, good.
The ICF.
No, did the school send
The
your?
school. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, so in the end, what I did is I just connected with the ICF directly, and I asked them, what is the next step for me? And they said it's the written exam. So I've got confirmation from the ICF as well.
Yeah. Mhm. There it goes. All right. Christine. How what's going on? You okay?
Yeah, I just had to take that chaotic call and get that out of my hair. I'm working with another marketing company right now on one of our clients, like my client, but I've referred him to her for other things. So we're trying to figure out stuff together, and then she offered me a job yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, I actually have had 2 job offers now since people know my position's ending in November. And my whole thought is, God, no. Oh, no, no, no. I just want peace now.
I hear you. You want your business. You want your coaching business.
Yes.
Yeah. I got to send out the link for the retreat because everything's getting finalized for that.
I know. You should have seen. I said to Joe, I get off of there with you, and he comes home and he says, "How was your day?" I says, it was so great. And he's like, "Why?" I said, "Because I made plans to go to Italy." He goes, "What? You're going to Italy?" I said, "Yeah." "Well, what are you going for?" He says, "For work." I said, "Yeah." He says, "With the ladies?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Oh, that's nice." I says, "Aren't you jealous?" He says, "No, I don't want to go to Italy with a bunch of chicks. Why would I want to do that?"
Yeah.
So
Well,
he's been
Mike will
hearing
be
all
there.
about,
There will be a
oh,
couple
will he?
guys there.
And so I said to him, I said, there'll probably be guys there. He says, yeah, no, because I don't know those guys. I'm gonna just be thrown in there in the trenches with a couple people or 5 people or however many dudes I don't know. And what if they suck and I'm stuck with them? I said, well, they probably wouldn't suck because they would be significant others if they did come, because I didn't know if they would. And he goes, yeah, we are pretty cool, aren't we?
Well,
So,
they're coaches, really. So Lori's husband, he went through this program, so he's a coach.
oh,
Yeah. And Holly's new husband,
Yes.
he's not a coach, but he does things like, they do ministry and stuff. So the coaching piece is helpful to him. And then Mike is a coach, my Mike. So Mike's going to take the guys and do something different. They're not going to do the same stuff we do. So Rita,
We'll
we're
do the
talking
cool
about
stuff.
that I've set up my first overseas retreat. I've done local ones in the US. So we're having one in Italy in May next year.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we already have Lori and Holly coming and Christine. So Bina might be coming as well. It's one of my other longtime clients. And that's 4 out of the 8. 10 at the top, but 8 is a good number. So yeah, I'm excited for that. All right.
And so what's your break even? Like, how many do you need to be able for us to go?
5.
Okay.
5 to
So
be
there only
comfortable and pay for the trips and the meals and all that.
so there needs to be at least one more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that has to happen because I cannot not go to Italy.
It'll happen. I'm having an
It's-
event in November, a full day workshop, and the upsell to that is the retreat, either in person or virtual. Virtual, I'm going to offer it because when I had a local one in North Carolina, I offered it virtual for those that couldn't make it. And Mike took care of all the videos and everything, and we just did it that way. And it worked
Oh,
out well.
that's
So
smart.
yeah, so I'll offer like a lower cost virtual option, but they'll still get the pre-work and they'll still get so I'm offering the laser coaching afterwards for 3 months as part of the
Oh,
package.
okay. Gotcha.
So they can participate in all that. And that'll probably be something like I don't know, maybe 1,500 or something. I haven't really priced that out yet, but if it's 1,500, I get, which is cheap. Because really it's 3 months of laser coaching and all the materials from the workshop and being able to look at the workshop and have the recordings. So, or the retreat sessions. But if I had 10 people doing that, what was that? 3, 6, 9. It's almost 12. What is that? I can't even think. I had 10 people at 11.
15.
Yeah. Thank you. 15,000. That makes it easier for us in Italy to do our stuff. So
Yeah, that'll be really a tremendous amount of fun. And it's funny because everything I do right now, because I'm losing my job, right? And I'm grateful for it. But I said to him, let's say, Joe, I made 0 money up until May in my coaching business. That really means that all the money from EI that's coming in is going solely towards my Italy trip.
what do you
He says, well, I suppose, but let's hope it doesn't happen that way.
Let's hope for that.
So
That's
I'm going
nice.
to throw in an idea for you for 2026. 2026, you come to South Africa. I'll organize it here, and then everybody meets up in my country.
I'd be right there. Like Africa is top notch on my places to go, and Thailand.
Yeah, we were
Okay,
thinking about
Cheryl, so
Thailand vacation.
you do next year, and I reserve 2026 for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Right? And we can do one in Canada.
Ah, yeah.
There's a lot of beautiful places in Canada, but actually I was thinking the next one would be like Bali or something, like something
Yes,
more
do
traditional.
Bali. No, so seriously, my son just left Bali.
I've
He
always
was
wanted to
there.
go.
He was there for 2 weeks. And I don't know if you guys look on my Facebook, you'll see pictures of him. He's like in rice fields with his arms out, and that was in Bali. I've got hordes of pictures of Bali that he sent me, and he loved it. One of his favorite places he's been, and he's been a lot of places in the world.
Yeah. And
Sure.
it's the retreat capital, really. Like everybody goes to Bali for retreats.
Sure.
Well, I'll go to that one. I'm the for
I'm just-
sure thing on every retreat.
I was gonna say, I'm just gonna sign you up for my next 10 retreats, Christine.
Well, they're like learning vacations. It doesn't
Yeah.
get any better. Your bucket gets full, you learn, you're relaxed, you get away. It's just everything that a person needs in their life all the time.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, you
All right.
can just sign me up. Just know that I'll be there, and that's how it'll go.
All right. Okay, so today we're talking about the whole credentialing process for you guys. It's going to be different for you a little bit for each of you, but yeah, so for you, Christine, you need to have 100 hours backdated to your original uh course that you took. And
What do you mean backdated?
well, I mean your log. You have to have a log of your hours, and
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
start with the first. When was your first course that you took?
I don't know. I have to look back on that. I mean, I probably have my info here from it, but I don't know when it was.
So it'll be
With
the first day of
WCI.
that class. Yeah, it would be the first day of that class that you took, that CPC class that you took.
I don't feel comfortable using any of those hours.
For your log.
No, no, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't think that's ethical. It is, I don't remember any half of the stuff that I did. It's like coaching all over again. And I think that I need to be starting my 100 hours now. I think that's the only ethical way to do it.
Yeah, that's your choice. Absolutely. Um, that's why I was saying I thought you would have already had them if you went back to that date, but if you don't want to, that's fine as well.
No, like, I
Um,
mean, I don't know if I would have them or not because I got sick right after and I stayed sick for years up until literally probably 6 months ago.
but you were doing that reciprocal coaching too. That all counted.
I did a lot of reciprocal coaching with Ignite, what I showed you.
Mm-hmm.
I did do a lot of that. I don't know where though I mean, I suppose I have my notes somewhere of my log, but I don't remember. And there's nothing wrong with me starting it right now and feeling really competent and feeling like when I send that off to, not when I send it, but when I send my stuff into ICF, I really want to feel like I'm deserving of that credential and I know what I'm doing and feel competent in my abilities. And the only way that's going to happen is if I start my coaching hours now.
Okay. All
So
right. So then, yeah. So then you have when you have your 100 hours, you'll take your certificate from this class, and it's a letter and a certificate, and that shows you completed a level 1 program, and then you'll upload your you don't have to upload a log anymore. You just have to put the hours that you did and attest to it. And then it'll ask if you completed your mentor coaching. You'll say yes, as part of the level 1 program. And then you'll pay your application fee and you'll submit everything. And then they will ask you to schedule the final written exam. So it's usually, right now they're scheduling 2 weeks out. So really, once you have that 100 hours, it's just 2 weeks to schedule that exam. And then for you, Rita, similar. You have to have your log with your at least 500 hours on it. You have to have your certificate. You'll go to the website. I'm going to show you guys it in a second. You'll do level 2. Christine, you're doing the level 1 path. Rita, you're doing the level 2 path. And you'll upload your certificate. You'll tell them how many hours you had. It'll ask you for your mentor coaching. You'll have to put the mentor coaching from the school that's issuing you that level 2. And then if it asks you for, because of the date, if it asks you for more training, then you can put this program and you'll have the
Okay.
certificate for it. It might do that. It might not. I don't know because you said it was like 10 years ago, right? Or something. Yeah. If it does ask you for more current, then just put this certificate in.
Okay.
And then same thing for you. It'll ask you to schedule your final written and, that'll be, it's right now it's 2 weeks out.
Okay.
Okay.
So how do you think we can go about to prepare for the written?
Yeah. So we're going to go over some stuff,
Okay.
but the best way is to, have your core competencies, know them inside and out, and your ethics. But typically the test is there, it's going to be different for you, Christine, by the time you take it. But right now it's 82 questions and you have to choose 2 answers. And this won't change for you, Rita, but they're changing the ACC one.
Okay.
And so you'll choose the best and the worst answer. That's what they're looking for. I'm going to give you examples. Actually, they sent me something for the ACC one, so I'll look at that in a second, but excuse me. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, this is ACC. So you need 60 hours of coaching, 100 hours of, 60 hours of training, 100 hours of coaching, 10 hours of mentoring. And then a passing score of the performance evaluation, which is, I give you here in this course, we do the performance evaluation and then a passing score of the exam. That's the written exam. The passing score, by the way, is a 70. You just need a 70 to pass. And then you're both going to use the level way of applying. You're going to do level 1. Christine, if you remember, it's 175, non-member is 325. And then you're going to do level 2, Rita.
Okay.
Okay, and then we don't need the ACS or the portfolio. Okay, so we're going to look at see if I can make this larger. Maybe not that large. Or maybe that large. Oh, look at my glasses on. Okay. So this is the dashboard, what it looks like for the level 1, 2, and the ACTP class or pathway. So here it's really simple. It's going to ask you for your education. You're going to tap on the enter education hours. You're going to put the training organization name. So Rita, that'll be your original school. And then Christine, this will be SCE Coaching Academy. Program name, Coaching with Emotional Intelligence. And then for Rita, whatever yours was called. Number of hours is going to be 75 from this program. Program start date. We were June or July. What is the program start date? Let's see.
July 30th.
Yeah, July 30th. And then does this represent the start of your coach specific training, your client coaching experience? So you're choosing to do that. So you're going to say yes. And
Well,
then
what
you're
do you
going
mean?
to,
I'm going to say no because I still have my other one.
well, see, okay, but it is for your client coaching experience if you're counting the 100 hours.
Oh, I see. Got you. Yes, okay. Then I'll
Yeah.
put that for sure.
And then choose file and you'll upload the PDF. And then hit save.
Yep.
And when you do that,
mm.
Glenn, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering about that date. I mean, I don't think I have the original date when I started because it was a 2-year training course.
It'll be on your
So-
certificate.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, your certificate has to have the beginning date and the graduation date.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so once you do that, then this becomes green and it says 100%. And you can see here, once you upload it, this is what it's going to look like.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So let's say I wanted to do my PCC, right? Or I wanted to do, I don't know, let's just say PCC, maybe this is applicable or not. And I needed some hours for educational hours. I can just use my other certificate then, could I not?
So if you wanted to do that, you could use WCI's and this course.
Use WCI and this course.
Yeah, and that would give you 130 hours. You only need 125. You could do that.
Yeah, that's
you'd
what
have-
I'm
but you'd-
wondering.
But you'd have to do portfolio. You couldn't do a level 1 or a level 2. That's the only thing.
What do you mean
Which is-
portfolio?
I'll show you. It's a different application.
Okay.
Um,
So what I'm wondering is when I go in and put in my ICF, can I put in both levels of education and then just put my coaching hours on this one? But just have them for the record, both certifications in my ICF file.
yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to do it because yeah, you could do it. These are the 2 ways you could do it. You can either use WCI period, and then when you go for your PCC, use this. Or, yeah, put them both in there to begin with and put your hours starting here.
Okay. Yeah,
You
that's
can
what
do it
I'll
either
do
way.
then. Okay.
And then here it asks you, this is your client coaching experience. And you're going to attest to all this saying that you have, followed the requirements for the ICF, that you have at least 75 paid coaching hours and up to 25 can be pro bono. So you have 100 total hours. That they were delivered to a client, that they were delivered to at least 8 clients, that they happened within the last 18 months, 25 of them, that you have a log. And then acknowledging that ICF can ask you for your log. So if you don't have 25 hours in the last 18 months, make sure you do that before you apply. So that goes for you, Rita, mainly.
Okay.
And then you'll sign down there and put the total hours on your log at that point. And then here it's going to ask you to schedule your exam. If you need any kind of accommodations, it tells you here what to do about that. But basically you're going to click that enter exam information. You'll put your legal first and last name. They're going to ask you for an ID when you go to take the test. So you want to make sure that what you put here matches that ID. And then if you have a qualifying medical condition, after you look at that document that they give, you can, hit yes, and they'll send you an accommodation slip. And then you'll hit okay. And then that'll bring you here to submit your application. You agree to this, which is just basically telling you about the process. If there's a medical emergency, they consider refunds up to $50 after you make a payment. You don't want to have any ECR complaints against you. It's your responsibility to communicate and validate your qualifications. You give permission to the ICF to verify your experience and documentation, which just means they send me an email and I verify it. You give permission to, or you're releasing any previous bond of confidentiality in your coaching session. So important that whoever you're coaching that you submit, if you have to submit a recording, that would be, or no, neither one of you have to submit recordings, never mind. And then that your credential is good for 3 years. And that they're going to submit you agree to them submitting your name and information to a third party, which is the Pearson VUE testing people. So you hit I agree, and then you hit next. And then this says that you've read and agreed to the ICF Code of Ethics. You hit next. And then you can hit yes or no for this. All they do is use the data from your exam to for reporting purposes and for informational purposes to other coaches. They don't use any identifying information. But you don't have to give them permission. And then you hit next. And then you have the fee as a member. And you check out. Now, if you're a member, you want to make sure you're logged in when you go to do this. If you're not a member, it actually still makes sense for you to become a member before you do this. It's just a little bit extra. So membership is $245 for a year. The non-member fee is $325, I think it was. So you're just paying a little bit more and you're getting a year of membership as well. So it just makes sense. And then that's it. Once you apply, you can always log back into your account. And you go to access your profile. And then here's where it will show you. Okay. So this is the level 1, level 2. Now, if you're going to do portfolio, so it's not really a non-ICF accredited, it's that you're combining 2 different programs and they weren't, like the first one wasn't a level 1. So you have to go through this. So you would do non-accredited education requirements. Oh, not gonna walk me through it. All right, well, I can log in. I actually have one started for an example. Oh no, it's ACH. Well. Yeah, I don't have I just have an MCC open.
That's okay. I don't really understand what the difference is.
So the difference is that the level 1 programs, which this is, right? We do everything at the school level, including your recording. And your mentoring. And so the ICF doesn't require you to submit any recordings for your application. with a ACSTH school, which was WCI back then, you have to submit your recording for the ICF to evaluate. So it's two different types of program. Hers was an
Oh, that's
ACSTH.
right.
Yeah, this is
And
a,
I went through mentor coaching with you, but then I didn't finish my last two classes because that's when I got really sick. And I did not submit to the ICF.
yeah. Now, I mean, we could still count. I mean, you still have had more than 10 hours mentoring with me. So you could still do that part. You could apply through the ACSTH just with WCI for the ACC if you wanted to. And then when you're ready for PCC, use this program. Or you could wait till you have 500 hours and just use both portfolio. But the only problem with portfolio is you have to submit 2 recordings for PCC level. Because they're going to
Yeah.
they're going to be the
So
ones evaluating it. What I would do is I would do the level 1. I would do the level 1 and do what you said, enter both certificates in there. And then when you're ready for PCC, by then you'll have taken another course of mine.
I will have probably, I'm sure.
Yep, and you'll have more training hours, and because I am creating a level 2 program.
Oh, then I can
So
just take the level 2 program.
right, and you won't even have to worry about portfolio or anything.
And I won't have, so with the level 2 program, will I still be submitting to you for
Yes.
my performance evaluation, or will
Mhm.
I have to submit to ICF?
No, me. It'd be the same thing as this, except it's for level 2.
Bam, I'll do that. Thank you. I'll take the number 3 because for me, the main stress is sending the recording to ICF.
Yeah, it is stressful. And then you have to wait 16 to 18 weeks.
Yeah, that's problematic, and I don't want to do that. And I'd rather just take more education, and I'm sure competencies will be changed by then.
Yeah, so then yeah, just use the level 1, use this program for the level 1, get your ACC, and when you're ready for PCC, you'll just take the level 2.
Okay, so I'll just throw both of them in there so that the ICF has both levels of training documented, like both my courses documented.
Well, you won't
and
even
then,
need WCIs because you'll go through the level 2 with me. But yeah, you can
oh,
do that.
that's true. But I will do it anyways, just so that, I
Yep.
have that in there, but I'll still go through yours with you, the the PCC with you. And then
Mhm.
I just feel like it makes me feel so much more competent. Like, okay, I'm on the ball. I know what
Yep.
I'm doing. And I don't think I would have jumped back into coaching I would have jumped back, but I wouldn't have done it right away without this class.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I hear you.
okay, done.
All right. Okay. So, as far as the written exam, come November, there'll be a new ACC credential exam, which basically, is still going to be, I mean, it's going to be similar. It's just going to be 60 questions versus the 82 questions for the PCC. They're trying to, there were so many of us as mentor coaches that said it doesn't make sense that you have these different levels, but you're testing them at the same level. So it didn't make any sense to us. And so we all kind of, were giving our input on that. And so they came up with a way to help out at the ACC level. So the ACC level is divided up into 2 sections, and you get a 10-minute break and halfway through. And it's 40 and 10 minutes. So it's not as long as the other one that you get. So it's like 90 minutes. So you get an hour and a half, right? Yeah. So you get an hour and a half for this. PCC, you get 3 hours. You get 60 multiple choice questions. You can either do it in person at a Pearson View testing center, or Pearson View has online remote. I will say that you can't, they take control of your computer. You can't access anything else on your computer while you're in that exam. You're not allowed to use any other prompts or any materials or anything like that. The straightforward proctored exam, no resources, no cheat sheets or anything like that. And the ACC covers 3 different areas. It covers ethics, conflicts of interest, and the processes like policies and confidentiality and how to breach confidentiality, and referring people out, that type of thing. I mean, basically, it's going to give you scenarios. Mostly all the exams, even the PCC one is the same, and the MCC. They're going to give you scenarios, and you're going to choose the best answer for those scenarios. So you're going to, I'm going to give you a, show you an example.
When are you doing your MCC?
I have to submit one more recording.
And then you'll be done?
Yeah. Well, so I did, originally submitted for my MCC, whenever it was last year, and I failed one recording at the MCC level. It was like a year and a half ago, actually. And they were actually, the assessing was done differently then.
Oh.
And it's better now. And so I just need to, I already have the recording. I have one of my MCC friends looking at it. And then once they tell me it's okay, then
it goes in. Well, that's
then it
what my
goes
thought
in.
was too. It's like, I don't want to send anything in that I don't know isn't going to pass for 100%.
Yeah.
So that's why this course is like, oh, are you kidding me? Okay, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would prefer somebody in a program to do it, but I don't have that option for MCC yet.
Mhm. And
Anyway.
so eventually, will you do ACC, PCC, and MCC programs?
Yeah, eventually I'll do an MCC program. Yep. And hopefully
Perfect.
they have a, yeah, hopefully they have
Right?
hopefully they have a, I mean, there is a level 3. I just don't know. Let me see. I don't think that it works the same way, but let me see, level 3. Okay, so level 3 accreditation. $75 hours. Oh, it is. Okay, so they did make it live. Okay, so there is the level 3, 75 contact hours, MCC accredited. So maybe I'll find an MCC program and just do it that way. But I have the recording, so I should just put it in. I already went through everything else. I just need to put that recording in.
Okay, so I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like this. So I know what the markers are. We all do for PCC, right? And that's my goal, is to make sure I am consistently at a PCC marker level, right? So now I can work towards that, and I can check my competencies after my, recordings, and I can go back and listen to my own recordings and find stuff out. Brilliant, right? How do I I want the MCC markers too, so that once I've met the PCC level, I can now start working on the MCC level all on my own. How do I do that? How do we do that? Do you have those?
Well, they're not called markers, they're called bars, but yeah, I can,
Yeah.
actually, I think it's on the
Mm.
drive in UpCoach. I did upload it there. It says
Oh, is
MCC
it?
bars, pretty sure.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay, good. Okay. Okay, good,
There's
good, good.
I don't know, I can't remember what the document name is because I'm not at home. I'm in limbo with my traveling. But
Oh,
there's a document, Christine, and it says ACC, PCC, and then on the document, third column, it says MCC bars.
Yeah,
oh, then I would have that already.
Definitely, yes.
Right here somewhere, right here. Oh, here we go. I got it. Already printed out. I just didn't even notice the MCC bars. Okay.
there you go.
And my second question was, Cheryl, did you notice with that when I messaged you on Facebook this morning, and Rita, I'm talking about the document I sent to her regarding the new exam, right? On there, that was sent from the old school that I used to do my reciprocal coaching with. He has a reciprocal coaching program, right? And it's free. And he has an exam on there. I don't know if you noticed it. It's a practice exam that he sells for $150 US. Are you going to possibly be developing a practice exam as a part of our wonderful courses that we are doing at the end? I am just wondering.
So, the ICF actually sent out a sample exam for us to use. And
Oh,
I'm looking for it now. So I'm wondering if it's similar to,
well, I can't see the one that he sent out because you have to pay $150 to have it, which I find really interesting. He's a very ethical guy, right? Well, Lux, his sister, she's the one who sent that out, but Fernando is the guy who owns Ignite, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, if I'm surprised he wouldn't have that option as well, but I would love that because I definitely feel some panic. I really feel panic now that you've mentioned they would think of trying to take over my computer. That's a massive no in my world.
I don't think they actually take control of the whole computer. It's made so that you can't get off the screen. Like you can't open up a browser. That's basically it. I don't know the technical part of it.
Yeah.
Um,
And um
but
so there
and
must
I
be a
guess we can
testing center near me. There is in Regina.
really.
Um yeah, there's a Pearson View test center in Regina where I am. And Saskatoon. And now I also feel sad. Oh, my biggest concern about the exam is memorizing the core competencies. So I was going to have like a sheet on my wall back here that had the competencies sitting there, but now I can't do that.
Well, no, you can't.
Huh?
I said no, you can't.
No,
Yeah.
no. So I feel really a lot of concern about that. 'Cause I find that I think maybe I just need to dumb down the competencies for myself. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, they're not going to ask you verbatim for things. So, it really is just understanding the um
Hmm.
I mean, if you understand what they are, what you can and can't do, then the scenarios, they're not asking you for like, they're not asking you for verbiage off those things. Like, they don't want you to memorize it, but they're going to ask you, like, what would you do in this situation? You have to know the competency to know which answer is right.
Do you know what I just realized? I have not looked at the competencies since we started this course. I've just been doing the course, right? And it's so interesting. I have, though, looked at the marker sheet so many times. It's shocking. And it's interesting now when I look back at the core competencies, they match the markers sheets perfectly.
Yeah, that's what we did. We took the markers off the competency sheet and put them into the feedback sheet.
So that makes it pretty easy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it doesn't seem all hard for me because it's establishing and maintaining agreements and trust and safety. And it's the stuff we just have been doing nonstop.
Yeah. And that's
Why
why
they seem so. I guess my concern is, so when I see establishing and maintains agreements, there's 7 things under there. I don't think I'm going to remember all those things that go with establishing and maintaining agreements unless I like do a tremendous amount of studying. And like, I guess I feel like I don't want to memorize things. I want to learn things. And I feel like it'll take me a long time to learn that this,
Yeah, you don't have to memorize it.
okay. Okay.
You really
And
don't.
70% isn't that extreme.
It is not. It's, I
Okay.
mean, a lot of people, a lot of testing, you have to do 75 or 80 or whatever. You don't have to do that.
Okay.
All right. Rita, do you have any question?
No, I'm just absorbing, thinking,
Okay.
worrying,
right, so let's-
but it's okay. Mhm.
All right, so let's look at the oh, actually they reduced it to 78 questions, which was really weird. Let me share my screen. So this is the actual exam. It's 78 situational judgment items. And again, until November, they changed it, but for ACC, but basically the gist of it is the same. They're going to give you realistic scenarios describing a coaching situation. And then it has 4 choices. For each scenario, you're going to select the best action and the worst action. There's only one correct answer for each. So what I typically say for these types of tests, multiple choices, you go through and you answer the ones that you know first, right? Then go back and worry about the other ones, which you can do here. You can say, I think it's like skip or come back to later or whatever. So go through, answer the ones that you're sure of. Yes, that's the best and that's the worst action. Then come back to the ones that you're kind of iffy about, and then just pay attention to the wording. Because it's gonna be the way they're framing it that's gonna give you the indication of, the situation, how if it's the best action or the worst action. You're not penalized for incorrect. They're just counting up the correct. They're scaled scores, which basically means you can have like 200 to 600. The passing score is 460, which is a 70. So just so, I don't know why they put it in these terms. So the total number for 2023, the total number of candidates tested were 9,795. 75% passed at the first attempt pass rate, and then 12%, for any second or third attempts. So total pass rate is 87. That's high. No worries there, right?
Where's the rest of the people?
13%. They're the ones that didn't pay attention in class. And then No, we don't need that. No. So once you complete, they're gonna send you, excuse me, once you do the application, they're gonna send you an invitation for the exam. You have 60 days to schedule it, but they're scheduling 2 weeks out, so you can take it as soon as 2 weeks. It's 3 hours for the PCC one. Come November, it's gonna be an hour and a half for the for the ACC. It covers competencies, ethics, and the definition of coaching. Make sure that you memorize that. ICF's definition of
What is
coaching
it?
right at the top of the definition of coaching. It's right at the top of the core competencies.
Oh, okay.
We're going to look at the exam content page in a second. So just again, reviewing the education, the materials, your competencies. And then how are you notified? Well, as soon as you're done taking it, you know if you've passed it or not. And then it takes up to a week to get the email from ICF, and then it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get the actual, you get a pin and a certificate. Or certificate comes in an email. It used to come in a physical form, but now they just do a PDF. But they do send you a cool little pin. They don't give you individual feedback. You just get the scores for this different sections. And then if you don't pass the exam the first time, you do have to give a retake fee of $105, which covers the administration to Pearson VUE.
Well, that's not too bad. At least you don't have to pay the whole amount again.
Yeah. You have to wait 14 days after failing to retake it. That's for renewals. Okay, that's all you really need to do there. And then so here's where they give us some examples. So they give you the scenario. A coach is meeting with a prospective client who's growing. Actually, before we go through this, oh, let's do it. A coach is meeting with a prospective client who's growing a new business. The coach and potential client quickly establish an easy connection. The coach is excited about the opportunity to work with the client. As the coach and client are ending their conversation, the prospective client briefly mentions the name of their new business. The coach recognizes the business as the coach is an investor in a more established competitor in the same community. What should the coach do? Best action, not say anything, try to keep their role as an investor in a competing business separate from their role as a coach. Share that the business name sounds familiar and make a mental note to determine whether it is a competitor business. Later that evening, share their role as an investor in the competitor business only if the potential client follows up to pursue coaching. Share their role as an investor in a competing business and acknowledge the possibility of a conflict of interest with the client. And the only thing with these examples is they show you which one it is. So it is the last one there.
Yeah.
Share the role as an investor and acknowledge the possibility of a conflict of interest. And then the
Not
worst
say.
action, not say anything, try to keep their role as an investor in a competing business separate from their role as a coach. So you pick out the best answer and you pick out the worst answer. Yeah, and let's take our break now because we actually only need 2 hours today for our mentoring because we'll have the completed 10 hours with your 3 hours of one-on-ones. Unless you have questions, we'll of course keep going. But so let's take the break now and we can end anytime between 3 and 3:30, depending on how it goes. But we'll come back and finish this, and then I have another resource for you as well with a different. They gave us a resource for exam questions, which isn't on the website and doesn't show you the answers like this. So I just need to find that real quick. So let's just take 10 minutes. It's 2. We'll take 10 minutes, 2:10.
Okay.
Thanks. I was trying to reset my password for the portal, but it's not letting me. So. I can't get to that other area. Kind of stinks because I really wanted to go over that one, but anyway, we'll do without it. So I'll go back to the sample.
Will you be able to send it to us later?
I'll bring it to
The
class
different-
when we do the final class. Hopefully I'll be able to reset it by then. Yeah, and
Thank you.
we'll just look at it then.
Okay, thanks.
And I was jumping all around the website. No, I got off track here. Back to the exam. Okay. All right, so we went over one. Second one here. Client struggles with delegating tasks at work to other team members. During the last session, the client shared that it's an important project they're leading, that an important project that they are leading is falling behind schedule. The coach supported the client in identifying strategies to delegate tasks to other team members. At the next session, the client reports back and shares, in the end, I decided to complete all the tasks myself. That was the only way to get them done on time. The coach feels disappointment that the client did not follow through on their plans to delegate. What should the coach do? Well, let me first say that the coach should not feel disappointed. But, yeah, we're human as well. So if you're going to feel disappointed, what's the best action? Immediately reflect back to their last session with the client and identify what they could have done differently to support the client in following through on their plans. Take a breath and acknowledge that the client is responsible for their own choice of whether to follow through with their stated plans or not. Set aside their disappointment for now and focus on the current session with the client. Decide to reflect on this situation during an upcoming session with their mentor coach. Praise the client for meeting the project deadlines, but ask why the client failed to support their team members' development. So, of course, the best action is to take a breath and acknowledge that the client is responsible for their own choice of whether to follow through with their stated plans or not. What do you think the worst one is before I scroll down?
The worst one? To criticize them for not following through with their plans.
So which
Number
one?
one.
Well, number one.
Oh, out of number one. Oh, I see.
It's actually the fourth one.
Well, I didn't
So-
realize they'd all be the same. I thought you were saying, like, what do you think
No.
would be the
Well,
worst
that is
thing?
that is a bad thing to do.
Yeah,
But asking them
asking
why they
why.
failed to,
Um,
yeah, asking the why is what is make it the worst, right? So you praise the client for meeting the project deadlines, but ask why the client failed to support their team members' development. Now, some people would have chosen the first one, right? Where reflect back on their last session with the client, identify what they could have done differently to support the client following through on their plans, because we definitely don't want to do that either. But it's not the worst out of out of all of them. This last one, asking the client why. 3, a client comes to a session appearing stressed. When the coach asks what the client wants to talk about, the client frantically lists a major event they're planning at work, a large family gathering they're organizing, and caring for their aging parents. What should the coach do? Ask the client if they need to take a moment before starting the coaching session since they seem stressed. Ask the client to share more about their aging parents. Acknowledge that the client has shared 3 significant challenges that they're facing and ask the client which one they'd like to explore first. Ask the client to begin with the major event they're planning at work since they mentioned it first. So it tells you that it's third one, acknowledge that the client has shared 3 significant challenges they're facing and ask the client which one they'd like to explore first. What do you think the worst is?
Ask the client to share more about their aging parents.
That's pretty bad, huh? Is that what you think, Rita?
Well, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it can be either asking the client about the
Yeah,
aging parent or deciding or asking the client to begin with the major event, the event.
they both invite storytelling, and both are
Right. But
they.
which one is more against the core competencies? So it's the last one because it's directive, right?
No,
The
yeah.
coach is directing the client, telling them what to do. Where 3 or 2, asking the client to share more about their aging parents is still, it's
Mm,
still discovery, right? You're still asking, you're still asking a discovery question. You're still
Okay.
exploring, right? But the last one is
Mm,
like,
yes.
you're choosing it for them, right? We don't ever want to choose the
mm,
topic for the client. They have to do that.
Okay.
Or a university biomedical researcher is working with a coach to improve their interactions with colleagues. The client is a very analytical thinker and can easily explain detailed data points and complex graphs, but seems reluctant to share anything personal with the coach. In previous sessions, the coach encouraged the client to describe how they felt at social events, but the client seemed highly uncomfortable answering only with short one-word responses. When the client arrives to their session today, the client silently hands the coach a journal. The client had written several detailed entries over the last week about their experience attending a university luncheon, a faculty party, and a staff development workshop since their last session. While the client says little to the coach in the moment, their entries show deep reflection about the anxiety the client experienced at these events and their desire to overcome social anxiety. What should the coach do? Well, what's the best action? Acknowledge the reflection work the client has done and ask the client if they feel comfortable exploring some of the emotions they described in their journal. Ask the client if they'd like to summarize the entries they detailed in their journal for the coach. Ask the client to identify some steps they can take to overcome the anxieties they wrote about. Ask the client what new awareness they developed about themselves through the journaling process. So, first one, acknowledge the reflection work and then ask if they feel comfortable exploring some of those emotions.
mm.
What do you think the worst is?
Ask the client to identify some steps.
Yep. Now, why is that the worst one? Because again, we're
Directive.
directing it, right? And we're telling them like that's what we're going to focus in on. We're going to look at, what steps you can take to overcome those anxieties. Where the first one is exploration.
I have a question though. In the first one, I would have thought like that instead of asking if they feel comfortable exploring some of the emotions, I don't know, maybe I suck, but I probably would have asked if this was something that they wanted to discuss during the session.
You could do that. Um, but I think the assumption here is that they handed you the journal. And so there's a connection for today's session based on that journal.
Okay.
But yeah, you could do that. That wouldn't be work, like that wouldn't mess anything up, but you would, if you did say, did you want to focus in on those feelings, you could still, acknowledge the work that was done in the diary and or journal and ask if
Yeah,
they
I
feel
meant like
comfortable
I would have
exploring it.
acknowledged that work done first and then moved on
Yeah.
to asking if, basically, does this mean type of thing without having a closed-ended question, but finding out if,
Yep.
does this mean we're working on this today?
Right. Okay. Yep. 5. A coach recently began working with a client to help them plan for retirement. The client is a well-respected teacher who has taught for 30 years at a local elementary school. The client consistently arrives highly prepared and organized for coaching sessions, routinely reporting progress between sessions, and identifying specific topics to focus on during coaching conversations. The client shares they are looking forward to retirement, but they discuss their retirement plans in a very matter-of-fact way. During the current session, the client shares that they have 2 weeks left before their retirement begins. They'd like to focus on a few remaining plans they need to make. Suddenly, the client begins to cry and says, I've spent half my life at this school. I adore my students and my colleagues are my best friends. I can't imagine what my life is going to be like when I no longer walk through the front doors of the school each morning. What should the coach do? Pause for a moment, then ask the client to identify the remaining plans they would like to focus on. Ask the client if they are sure they want to retire. Acknowledge that retirement is a significant life transition and that emotional responses are normal. Pause, then acknowledge the emotional impact the transition seems to be having on the client and ask if they'd like to spend some time with those feelings. So
Yeah, that one.
that one, the last one. How about the
Yeah,
worst?
I'm looking away. I'm listening to your responses because I don't want to see what they say. So I'm listening to what you're reading.
Yeah, okay. Good idea. What do you think the worst is?
Ask them if they're sure they want to retire.
Yeah, it's definitely one up there.
Mm.
Is that what you think, Rita?
Oh no, the first one.
I think number one, yeah, it's very
Yeah.
directive.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. So pause for a moment, then ask the client to identify the remaining plans they would like to focus on today. So that's again, it's the directive, right? So you have to look at based on the core competency because
Mhm.
the second one isn't great, right? It's not a great question for the coach to ask, but it's not
Not the
going against
worst.
the core competency, right? It's not the worst one there.
That's why I went, oh, wait a second. No, there's that directive. So I had to change my response.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at 6. The client is working with a coach to support them during an important career transition. The client currently holds a demanding role as chief operating officer of a company while also raising 2 young children and serves as primary caretaker for their aging parents who live with the client. The client recently received job offers from 3 different companies, each requiring the client and their family to relocate. The client comes to the session excited about the new job opportunities and hopes to gain clarity through the session in which offer to choose. The client starts by discussing the things they are looking for in a new job, energetically listing opportunities for growth, challenging responsibilities, a talented team to lead, and the potential for travel. When the coach asks what the client's children and aging parents may need in a new community, the client's excited smile disappears and they are suddenly quiet. What should the coach do? Repeat the question to the client to give them another opportunity to respond to the coach's inquiry. Ask the client if they're okay to proceed with the session or if they need a break. Pause for a moment, then share with the client that they noticed a change in the client's energy. Ask if the client would like to explore what they're feeling in the moment. Or support the client in weighing the offers they have received by inviting the client to explore each of the characteristics they listed for a new job.
Number 3.
Yeah. So pause and then share with the client that they noticed a change in the client's energy. Ask if they'd like to explore what they're feeling. How about the worst?
4.
How about you, Rita?
Repeat the question.
Yeah, maybe. Hmm.
Now, why is that the worst you could do? Because
Redundant.
but we're also assuming that we are, especially emotional intelligence, right? We're connected to the client and they suddenly went quiet for a reason, right? It's not because they needed the question repeated. So that's what it's
But
saying,
I
right?
don't know. When you're inviting the client to explore each of the characteristics, are you not leading?
Well, you are. You are, because you're saying Would you like to explore? Well, the other thing is you're inviting, you're not directing totally there, right? You are leading. I don't think you're directing, but you're leading. There's a difference.
Okay, because that's why I chose 4. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought 1 was crappy too, because to me it was a different reason. To me, it was just redundant and like obviously, did you not hear them, hear the response the first time,
Right.
right?
It's like you weren't listening to the client.
Yeah, that was it. But the reason I chose
Mm.
4 was because of the word inviting the client
Yeah.
to explore. Well, I don't know if I don't know. Does the client, I suppose to me, it would look more like you would be asking a question if they want to explore. I guess that's the same as inviting them. But why would I even ask that? I'm struggling with that section right there.
Yeah. I think the main thing to pick out of this is that your active listening is not present here.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing to think about. Where this, you're inviting, you're not telling the client, you're not saying, um, okay, so I want to support you in being able to, weigh the options for these different jobs. What characteristic, let's explore each characteristic that you listed for each job. Let us, that's leading, right? Instead, by inviting, they're saying, that the coach is saying, would you like to explore the characteristics of the job? So I think it's the,
Okay.
an
It's
invitation
still a
versus,
question.
yeah. So it's
Okay.
inviting instead of directing. But this one is definitely like, either you weren't listening or you're impatient. And so you're repeating it because you want the client to answer.
Mm.
Neither one of them's good. All right, so 7, a coach is working with a client who's an experienced marathon runner who's writing a book on training for endurance races. This is a long-held dream for the client. The coach notices the client often uses running metaphors when talking about their challenges and progress in their writing. The client is typically upbeat and energetic, but they arrive at today's session appearing tired and discouraged. They share with the coach that they have recently hit a wall in writing with 3 chapters remaining. When they sit down to write, the client says they can barely come up with anything and nothing that is worth publishing. The client says they're afraid they won't be able to complete the book on time and that all their work toward their goal will be lost. What should the coach do? Ask the client if they'd like to explore their fear of not finishing the book. Remind the client that they have achieved extremely challenging goals in the past and can meet this goal too. Ask the client if there was a time when they were running a marathon and felt like they couldn't finish. Invite the client to share how they handled that challenge in the race. Support the client identifying strategies to help them move forward in writing the remaining chapters of the book.
Mm.
3. Yep. Ask the client if there were a time when they were running a marathon and felt like they shouldn't or they couldn't finish. Invite the client to share how they handled that challenge in that race.
Mm.
So basically, what have they tried before and applying that to the current situation?
Yeah.
How about the worst? Which, by the way, none of these sound really terrible.
That's what I'm thinking. None of them actually sound really bad. I would say number 2.
Mm.
And support the client.
I agree with you,
No,
Christine.
3. I don't know.
Yeah.
Between 2 and 4, I'm struggling. I don't think I'd know what to answer on the exam regarding this one, actually.
Okay, Rita, how about you? What were you saying?
I feel almost like it's 2 because for us to remind the client that they have achieved, it's almost like we again assuming that our our take on their success must be their success, or they must connect to that. I'd rather support and I'd rather ask and I'd rather invite.
Hmm. Okay. So that was
Yeah.
the one.
And so this is, there's a couple things with this. A person that's going to remind them if they've achieved, challenging goals in the past, and they can meet this big goal too, is more of like a cheerleader, right? We're cheering them on. As coaches, we're not supposed to be their cheerleaders. We have to validate or not validate, but we have to note, and show that we see their progress. But we're not there to be their cheerleaders because a couple reasons. One, it can create a power dynamic. I think we talked about that in one of the earlier classes.
Mm.
And then two, they can start to rely on us for it.
Well, and really, number two, how do I say this? If you're doing number three, basically that's number two done significantly better. Right? Because
Well,
number
yeah, because
three is about the client. You're making the client be their own cheerleader, really,
that's
that
right.
you're making them understand, you're helping them with that. Whereas in number two, you're the one becoming their cheerleader, and it's really about you then. It's not actually about the client.
Right. So
Yeah.
we're actually asking the client to do the work in three
In number
versus us
three.
doing the work. Yeah. On
Yeah.
two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to say, Cheryl, this last couple of weeks with you in this course and the mentor coaching, one thing that really came through so strong was take yourself out of it. Invite your client, ask your client, use their words for them to make their own connections. Basically, snoop out of it. Take
Yeah.
yourself out of it. And that's how I got to this conclusion. It doesn't matter if my perception is that they've done great in the past. It's, what is their perception?
That's right. Exactly right. Good. Thank you. I'm glad that that's been showing up for you. Question 8, coaches worked for 1 year with a client. The client has been identified by their supervisor as a potential leader in the organization based on their high quality work, good relations with peers, and innovative ideas for future projects. However, the client rarely speaks up in meetings with senior leaders, and when they do, they often downplay or diminish their ideas. The client supervisor recommended coaching to improve the client's executive presence with the ultimate goal of developing as a leader in the organization. At the start of the coaching, the client was often self-critical. However, the client has made tremendous progress in recent months. During their closing session, the coach notices that the client has a confident, easy smile. When the coach shares their observation with the client responds by saying, "I feel different, empowered, ready to take on new challenges." The client adds, "And I was just nominated by the CEO to be part of a leadership development program for emerging leaders in our company. What should the coach do?" So best, acknowledge the client's growth and confidence over the past year and invite the client to share how they plan to celebrate their selection for the leadership development program. Invite the client to identify challenges they would like to take on next. Ask the client what they may need to maintain their new confidence. Suggest to the client that they extend their coaching engagement to work towards a new goal of being promoted to a leadership role. So it's the first one, acknowledging the client's growth and confidence over the past year, and then invite them to share how they plan to celebrate. And that's in our, that framework that I gave you originally. It's in there about like, how are you going to celebrate when they've done their goals, right? That's important to have the client, not us to celebrate it so much. We want to acknowledge, but to have the client celebrate their successes. So, because anybody that's celebrating their own successes, it just breeds more success. So that would be the first thing. Does that mean you wouldn't get to a point where you might ask them what they need to maintain their new confidence? I don't know. But
it's, if you look at when you're looking at these answers, you want to look at the sequence as well. So they're asking for the best action. That would be like the first action you would take. So it's not saying there's nothing, like there might be another action on that list. You know, there's choices that might make sense to do in the situation, but is it the first, meaning the best action to take first? So look at the, you know, the sequence of events as well, or a sequence of the timeline when you're looking at the answers. Now, what do you think the worst is?
Suggest.
Or
Yeah.
kind of a no-brainer. The the coaching is coming from the company, first of all, and it was to get them to the point where they would be confident in a leadership role, and they're already in this program. So that would be inappropriate. Okay. So questions about those questions, or how the exam questions are going to be.
No, I think it's very helpful for us to look at almost the verbs. So the invite, the ask, the acknowledge. Is there direction? Is there, you know, I think that's going to also help us, as you say, look at the sequence of what is stated. That's very helpful to me.
Good. Anything, Christine?
Well, I think I feel more relaxed actually seeing those types of questions, because I think a couple of them I'll have to really think about with the way they're worded. But for the most part, it's not something that seems overly difficult in an exam, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay,
And I
good.
think it's a lot like what Rita said. I feel like this time around in this course, I have a greater idea. Well, I wouldn't say a greater idea. I don't know how to put it. It's just I feel more competent in what I'm supposed to be doing and having a deeper understanding of what my role is as a coach. And really that deeper understanding is I'm here just as a, help them facilitate things in their life. I don't have any part of their world at all, you know? I'm just here asking my questions to help them have realizations, and none of it has to do with me at all. Really. Whereas I didn't feel like that so much last time. I think I had some confusion, and I think I really felt like I needed to direct so much more that I don't feel at all this time around in this class. So I think that's really, really helpful. I think it's not like they taught me or any of us to direct. I just think there wasn't a real clear line in the sand like there is with this particular course.
Awesome. So glad to hear that.
Yeah, like it's really quite different. And if I take a look and think, what are those differences? Well, I think probably one of the biggest ones is the markers that we've been able to see and understand. And I think also through the whole course, you've reiterated so many times, this isn't about you. Keep the focus on them, keep the focus on them. It's just come up so many times through this course. Like Rita said, I completely agree with her.
Yeah.
And it's very, very helpful, I think, for that coaching presence.
Yeah.
And I think also Lori was really helpful about that too. I think it was only, I don't know, it was in our first few classes. I wrote it down somewhere verbatim what Lori had said, and she had said something and it just made me go, oh yeah, you know? It just was really, I don't know, I find it quite profound, the whole course.
Mm.
I love to hear it. Thank you so much.
No, it's
Yeah.
true.
I put a lot
Yeah,
into
and
it,
I
and so it's
decided.
great to,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Uh, no, so I decided to do something significant for myself and my office. But I'm going to do a string art project because I just realized that is what coaching is about. Use the little nails. Is that in English? Nails?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you just put all the nails out there, and your client decides which one they hook and which one they color in and which one they string onto and which one serves them and which one doesn't serve them and how to make their own connections. You're literally just there. And in the end, nobody stands at a string art project and look at the nails. They look at your client and say, wow, this person has come very far. So I've decided to do this huge project. I don't know where I'm going to get the time for it, but I want to do a string art project as a significant reminder for me what my role is as a coach.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you both. Yeah. Okay. So, just a couple more things, to, for the exam. So there's 3 areas for the exam: ethics, definition and boundaries of coaching, and then competency, strategies, techniques, that type of thing. So when we look at ethics, it's really just understanding that the ICF code of ethics that we have. So reading through that and understanding what the code means, being able to recognize when there's a conflict of interest, and that's going to drive your decision or your question. What happens in the session. So that's going to show up on your exam. And then just, being familiar with the laws or the regulations and policies that are related to confidentiality. We talked, in depth about that. You do have a resource available to you.
Oh,
Cheryl?
yeah, I thought it was
You,
my computer.
in the
Oh,
when to
we
refer
lost
out
you,
to therapy.
Cheryl.
Yes.
We
You hear
lost
me
you
now?
for a minute.
You said there's a resource for the ethics and then you were gone.
Okay, so you want to understand the ethics, read through those, understand when there can be a conflict of interest, and then just be familiar with, the laws and the regulations related to confidentiality, which if you look in the drive in UpCoach, there's a resource in there for you if you need to read deeper on it. It's about when to refer out for therapy.
Oh, yeah.
So it's in depth. It's like 20 some pages or something. You can read through that. And the second section is the definition and boundaries of coaching. So understanding the definition of coaching, which is right on the core competencies, and just knowing, the coaching process and what makes it different from therapy and consulting, mentoring, teaching, that type of stuff, right? So knowing the differences there. And then again, knowing when to refer out. And then recognizing the mental health conditions that may, get in the way of a coaching relationship. So that, that resource might be good for you to take a look at. That's in the UpCoach. And then just basically knowing how to create a coaching contract, which is it's the in-session one as well as the overall coaching agreement that can show up in the exam. So knowing
Oh,
that, you know, your contract should have logistics fees, how they work with you, you know, how they get in touch with you or whatever, right? Knowing what needs to be included in that agreement. And then, of course, your session coaching agreements.
Okay.
Understanding your competencies, and then, you know, some things that you might get some questions on are like, you know, goal setting, or, you know, what would motivate a client more type of a question. So keep your mind open for those. And then, you know, just looking at different, coaching tools, techniques, and resources, which, you know, we've gone over quite a few in the course. They're all throughout your texts. So just, I think you have that familiarity already. And then the ICF has some tips for passing the exam. So just kind of revisiting the materials from your coaching program. So looking through your chapters. Make sure that you know your ICF core competencies, review the ACC minimum skill requirements. Now that's something that we did not go over too much in this course because we're looking at PCC markers. But the ACC minimums are in the UpCoach. So you can download that. The bars are in there as well. But if you know your PCC markers, then you'll know those ACC minimum skill requirements, but just read through it. That'd be something I would read through right before the exam. And then studying the ethics, looking at their definitions and how they interpret things. Reflecting on typical coaching scenarios and some effective responses. Reviewing guidelines for referring coaching clients to therapy or other support professionals.
Are you
is gonna be
seeing this
helpful.
on the ICF website?
No, I'm seeing it in a document.
Oh,
And then just, yeah, reviewing those guidelines for referring out, which again, that resource that's in UpCoach would be beneficial for that. Then I will see if I can fast track the sample exam and have that. I mean, I should have that ready before you take the written exam.
Thank you.
Yeah.
so you're going to give us a sample exam to do?
Yep.
Good woman you are, Cheryl. And so are you going to be able to mark it for us and tell us if where we're at?
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
I think I'll actually make it an automated thing. So as you go through it, you answer it. Like if I do it in jot form or whatever, and then at the end it'll say if you had this many, it'll tell you how many you had right and wrong, and it'll say if you had this many you passed, if you had this many you failed. I might set up the automation for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And if I fail, can I just keep taking it till I pass? Oh no, it'll be the same test. But I would know where
Well, you
I
wouldn't
mean, I
know what
probably
answers.
won't fail it, but I'll know
No,
where
you
I
won't.
need to
And you won't know which one you got wrong. Like it's not gonna. I don't have
yeah.
that kind of capability to do that type of automation. You'll just know that you got that question wrong.
Well, the
All
good
right.
part is I can study as long as I choose before I take the ICF test.
That's right. You can.
So whatever.
All right. Questions about anything that we covered today?
No.
Anything that you want to discuss? Any other questions or anything that you'd like to discuss? Otherwise, we're gonna break. We're gonna stop at 3.
Okay.
Well, we meet you on the 29th. How are we doing that? Are you going to put another session in Zoom for us?
Hang on.
Like, are you
It's
just
gonna
going to
be the
add a
same length.
session?
Yeah, it's gonna be the same link for this one. You know, that you used all throughout the course.
Okay.
Didn't even know
But
it was the same link. I just click join call in UpCoach. So there'll be no
Okay.
join call
Oh,
button for
no.
me anymore.
I'll add it. I'll add another one. So you can just go right through there. And so then, yeah, the 29th. Let's see. And that
I
was to give
blocked
you
off
guys,
literally my entire day. So
all right, yeah, so the 29th. I better put that in my calendar before anybody gets on there.
that's why I blocked
Or,
mine off so no clients could book on there.
yeah. Final performance.
There's no daylight savings yet, right? So,
No, I think it's the first weekend in November or something.
I don't have
Mm.
daylight savings here.
Yeah, me neither. I don't do that thing.
So yeah, where we live, it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Like we don't
So
ever
weird
change our
feeling.
time.
Yeah, we just want to stay on this where it's lighter longer. But they won't let us do that. All right, so I blocked that off on my calendar. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, the 29th, I'll put a new link in UpCoach so you can just join on that day, and then we'll do how that's going to work is we're going to meet here. We're going to talk about kind of I think I even posted that, but I have some suggestions on when you go to do your recording. Then you're going to go off. You're going to both record yours. I need it done formally, otherwise I would just say do it in the class. But you're going to go off, Christine. You're going to record your session with you coaching Rita, and then you're going to stop the recording. You're going to download your copy, and then Rita's going to coach you with her copy. And then I'm going to give you a link. You're going to use that to submit the recording. And if you want me to do the transcription, then I'll give you a link to pay for the transcription. If not, you can get your own transcription and you'll upload it on that form as well. And then we'll come back. We'll be back in the class at that point, and we'll wrap up the course.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Can Rita and I not just do a recording on our own to submit to you?
Now it has to be formal.
What does that mean, formal?
It means like a formal environment. So it's like, oh, you're here in the class. We're doing our final now. Go do
Okay,
your final.
okay,
Come back when you're done the final.
okay. And Rita and I did one session outside of class that I used that I didn't like that I had to send to you. The one I really I find I never like the ones I have to send you. I always like the ones I do in class. For some reason or another. But then we also then have to do 3 other sessions together, right?
How many did you do?
One together. That's it
Oh.
so far. No,
Well,
Rita, did I coach you once? No, I
Yeah,
coached you once for my exam. Did you coach me? I don't think so.
I
So I
don't
think
remember, but I don't think so.
I
I mean,
think we
if you
have
guys
3 more.
if you do 2 more, I'll be happy.
Well, it's okay. We can do 3 more and meet the requirements of the course. I have to do 3, otherwise I'll feel like me passing the course was a farce and I didn't really deserve it.
No, I was just saying in case you did one that you guys aren't remembering.
No, I don't think we did. I
Okay,
don't
then yeah,
remember it.
then you'll have to do 3 more.
Okay, and
And so you'll
we
have
don't
to do that before you submit your homework assignments, because you have to note it on the last page of your homework workbook.
So we have to do that before November 11th.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Does other clients that agreed us to video them and transcribe them, do they count towards this hours?
For buddy coaching or peer coaching, it's supposed to be classmates. But there is only
That's
two of
okay.
you, so if you both have an outside person that you want to use for one of them, you can do it.
Okay.
But otherwise, it should be each other for the rest.
Yeah, I don't mind doing 3 sessions with Rita. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then you're also going to have to do a third recording for me that you're going to submit after your final. To close out the course, that last one-on-one mentoring is another recording that won't be with each other, be with somebody else.
Oh, who will that be with? Just someone else we choose?
Yep.
Oh, now I have to find someone else before then?
Well, so
When is that? I'm gonna lose my crap. When is that?
I actually don't have it on the calendar. I didn't reschedule that. So as long as it's before, let's see. If we do our final mentoring and assignments due the week of well, no, it is supposed to be the week of 11/11, but I mean, I'm not tied to that week. I'm tied to November.
Okay.
So you have the 1 week that's Thanksgiving, so that negates that week. But any other time in November that you want to submit it and have their one-on-one, I need 5 days to do the the assessment, then I'm fine with that.
Okay,
So anytime before
fine.
the end of
I'll
November
just-
where you submit a third recording and you submit your homework assignments.
Okay.
Third recording. And that's with someone else.
Yeah.
Okay. I tell you, man, my work's killing me. That's my big issue. And Halloween. So Joe finished. Look at this, guys. This is what's crazy in my world. I brought them in last night. So every year we give away special stuff to all the Halloween kids in town for Halloween. Because we have a laser cutter. So this year, it is absolutely crazy, actually. It took us 3 hours for each one, and we had to make 100. So we made these little wooden cauldrons
Oh, that's pretty cool.
for all the kids.
Wow.
And the little top comes off, and then I fill the whole inside with candy. And it takes about, an hour and a half for each one to cut, and an hour and a half to assemble each one. And we had to do 100. So it was
Pretty cool.
300 hours this year.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So that was all due at the end of October. And then my business ends the end of November. And I have to have all the stuff done for the course. And I didn't know my business was going to end when I started the course. Like my job, right? So I'm like,
Yep.
oh my God, what am I going to do? But I'm going to figure
It'll
this
be
out.
fine. It'll be fine. And also, I'm pretty flexible. So
Well, I know, but I kind of feel like the more I put off, the longer my panic's going to be.
yeah, and that's why I don't want to go past November because then it runs into other
Your
classes
next
when they're
course
due.
coming up
Yeah.
in November. I saw November 4th. I was
Yeah.
creeping you this morning.
It's so funny. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I will see you for the final. And then if you need anything in between, email, message, what have you. Otherwise, I'll see you then.
Oh,
All right.
when is our new, hold on, when is our, how are you? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose my crap. We still have to do one-on-one with you, right? When do we schedule that? Or do you schedule that?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about, that you give me the third recording and then we'll schedule it.
Okay, bye.
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 Bye-bye.